Hello and welcome to this video. As I've been trying to make you understand from the last video, on using zones and using trading view. Now basically I'm going to be showing you how to do it on your phone, whereby you don't really need your laptop. First of all, we'll start with the zone. So I'm just gonna clear this. Okay, so we could remove our indicators and drawings, and we're gonna be focusing on the GPB USD pair, and that's part of the pairs we're going to be trading: the GPP USD, AED USD, and of course gold, yeah, and Euro AUD. Okay, so I'll get straight to the point. Remember, I told you guys the first thing to do is go to the monthly to try to determine what direction our trade is. And right now, from the monthly on GPB USD, you could see we're generally in a sell market because you could see a downtrend. Okay, you could see um the market coming down and then making a reversal and then coming down again. Okay, so basically we can see easily here that we are still in a sell market on GPPUSD on the monthly. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is we'll go back to a lower time frame. Now we'll go back to the weekly, not necessarily lower time frame, but on the weekly now what we want to do is to take our zones. I remember covering zones in the last video. Okay, so I'm just zooming out, and then I'm gonna be using this. Okay, so I'm gonna be using the red angle to get my zones. So I could start by placing the first zone here. All right, so clearly you could see this was a very nice zone. And I'm doing this on my phone, so I could easily just drag it to the spot. All right, now going back, I could see all this from the past. So I think I'll majorly want to start from back here. Okay, and we'll get into that and the reason for that shortly. So let me just put my phone on landscape mode so we can see more. Alright, so still drawing my zones here. Okay, alright, so I'm gonna be duplicating this clone. Okay, so clone this again. Could easily see how I spot my zones. I clone this, and though these zones look a bit large, so I'm gonna be trying to make them look a little bit more tiny. Okay, so we're gonna make them to look as tiny as possible. Okay, I think this should be just good enough. So we could take this out and just replace them. Okay, okay, now here I'll duplicate this clone. Now remember, I'm doing this at the weekly. I zoomed out so we'll be able to see this. So we want to make our lines as long as possible. You can see this zone here. And you can see this right here. And you can see this right here. So I'm just going to be zooming in a little closer. so we'll be able to see upfront close enough. Okay, okay, so just zoom out a little, be able to see clearly what we're doing right now. I remember I'm using this on the phone, so I might have to squeeze a little just to get exactly what I'm looking for. Alright, and easily we could see that this zone was respected here. The price came down here, went back up, and then there were double tops here, and then it broke and came back down here. So in general, we are still in a sell market. Okay, so that's how to take the zones, just to know where your market is heading to. So now the next thing I do is, after finding my zones and okay, find out okay what direction is this market heading to. Basically the market is heading for a sell, so the next thing I do is go back to my MT4. Okay, I go back to my MT4. Okay, I go back to my MT4, and then I start looking for sell opportunities. I only look for sell opportunities because I know generally the market is a sell, and I could see where it came down here, went back to test this spot here, and then come back down. And if I zoom out on a higher time frame, I'll notice there's still something down there, and the market is still heading for a sell. So now this is just a top-down analysis on where I should focus my trading on. So I'm focusing my trading on the GBPUSD for a sell. So I could go to a lower time frame like the daily to also check some support and resistance zone where the market respected zones, where the market, so I could call this my minor zones. Okay, so I could just say this spot here, right? You could see this spot to be a minor zone, so you could easily just change the color just to indicate okay, this is actually a very minor zone, not to get it confused with the major zones. So you could see at this spot acting as a point of resistance in this market. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is go back to my MT4. Right now, once on my MT4, I go to my GBP USD. Now I'm going to be showing you step by step what to fix on your chart. Okay, so we're going to be using the moving averages. If we are in a sell market, the moving average to use will be the 20 moving average. So we're going to be fixing first of all the 20 moving average. We apply to high exponential method, period 20 high. Okay, now you click done. So now we have the 20 moving average. That's in a sell market. In a sell market, we use the 20 moving average high, and then we use the 200 moving average for our trend. Okay, so we have the 200 moving average for our trend. So I could easily apply to close, and I could easily change this way. Now I have my trend indicator. So once market is below, and generally I know it's a sell market, so once market is below the 200, I start looking for buy setup, and then I start looking for sell setup and looking for opportunities to sell. So the way this strategy works is easy. I zoom in a little, and these are the kind of things I'm looking for here. I'm looking for a spot where the market candles left. Okay, I'm just gonna make this to be a little clear. So I'm looking for points like this. Okay, just where the market left the moving average. Okay, so you can see this candle. Yeah, I'll consider this candle. So are we considering this candle that left this moving average and then came back down and then went back to retest your moving average here? Okay, so once I have point like 1, the lowest point, and then come back to touch. Okay, another one, the lowest point, come back to touch. Okay, so those are the point I'll be considering. And the next thing I'll do is, once I have those points, I go to my Fibonacci toolbox. Okay, I click on Fibo and I'll get my Fibo tool. Okay, so I want you to really get this. So I'm going to be uploading a couple of videos that contain some of my strategy on this using this system also. Okay, so usually your Fibo comes at at the default as you see. The default will be looking this way, so I just easily edited this part to put in first take profit, okay, and so on. First, second take profit, and here as my third take profit. Okay, so I go back and I click done. Okay, so this is how I get all this ready. I have my first, second, and third take profit. Now basically I'm going to be explaining how we get our entries. Okay, so like for my trade on last week, this was the point I used. You could see this here and then come back to touch, and this was the lowest point. So for this trade here, I'll wait for the market to come back to this point right here. So once the market get back to this point, and that's where I sell. Okay, so I'll have a sell stop at this point. Okay, and I'll sell at this price, which is 1.24042, and taking my expansion, I'll be able to predict my take profit. So Fibo 2 draw. Okay, remember point 1 here, point 2 back on the second, and the third point right at the lowest point. Remember, this is a sell market, so we have a sell stop at this point. We'll have a stop loss at this point here, and then we have our first, second, and third take profit. You could easily see how it went. It came to our first take profit, right? Went to the second, then went back up and coming down up to this point. So I took advantage of this by shorting. So I took advantage of this market by selling, closing at the first take profit, and waiting for any other reversal up, and then taking another trade at the top, selling to the bottom, waiting for it to move back up. Because generally you must understand that the market doesn't just fall down once. Like, it doesn't just go from this point to this point without reversals. So once my entry here is activated, and even if I miss it, I might wait for a pullback, enter the trade. When I get down, I take my profit, wait for a pullback, enter the trade at the top again, and take my profit. So but for me to know that this trade is very valid, there are other things I check, and in the next video I'm going to be covering those things I usually check to make sure my trade is very valid. Okay, so but for this video I think we've done a little justice to it, though I'll be making more videos and repeating these things so you could easily get what I'm talking about. So I guess I'll see you in the next video.